Humans are sent to an extremely harsh world. Things don't go as they expected. We are standing on the edge of oblivion. The winds howl across the barren plains of Alara, the air sharp with ozone mixing with a lingering scent of sulfur, strange suffocating. It's as if the planet itself is breathing waiting. The landscape beneath us is nothing but jagged, unforgiving rock, broken valleys of liquid that burns to the touch in a sky heavy with purples, reds, and blacks. There should be no life here, and yet here we are. You won't be able to stop wondering, how can we survive in a world like this? Captain Aidan Maxwell stares out at the desolate expanse, his brow furrowed not for the first time, wondering if the human race is truly ready for what lies ahead. His hand rests lightly on the shuttle's console as he listens to the hum of the ship's engines. His mind is 100 steps ahead, calculating, analyzing. This mission isn't like the others. Lira, classified as a Class 0 death world, is no ordinary challenge. It's a crucible meant to test them, to break them. But Aidan knows better than to let fear creep in. He's been a leader too long for that. "All right, team," Aidan says, his voice steady, cutting through the hum of the shuttle systems. "We're not here to be tourists. We're here to survive, to build, and maybe to make history." Sergeant Amelia Cruz, sitting across from him, doesn't flinch. She's always been the steady one, the one who takes action when others hesitate. Her sharp eyes flicker between the different screens in front of her, scanning for any signs of trouble. She's got her weapon close, but Aidan knows it won't be enough if things go sideways here. Alara isn't just about brute force. It's about surviving the environment, understanding it, and outsmarting it. "Easy enough," Amelia says, her voice quiet but firm. "But don't get too cocky, sir. This place doesn't like outsiders. We'll be lucky if the ground doesn't eat us alive before we can even set up." Aidan smirks, though it's barely a smile. "True enough. But I've got a feeling about this team. You all seem ready for anything." Dr. Helen Foster, the team's medical expert and biologist, shakes her head, though there's no real frustration in the movement, just that familiar look of determination. She's been reviewing the data on Alara's environment, her mind already wrapped around the myriad ways this planet could kill them. The acidic rain, the volatile electromagnetic storms, the creatures that surely lurk in the shadows. All of it. It's a perfect storm of disaster. But for Helen, it's a challenge, an opportunity to test every theory she's ever had about survival in hostile ecosystems. "Ready, sure," Helen mutters, glancing over at Amelia. "But I'm more worried about what we don't know. It's not just the storms or the heat, it's the unknowns. We don't even know what's under the surface here. There could be toxins in the soil or creatures that—" "You sound like a pessimist," Doc Jake Morrison interrupts, his hands busy tweaking something on his console. The engineer's always calm, always thinking about the next thing. His mind races ahead even when the rest of the team is in survival mode. "We've got the best tech the Earth Federation can offer. You think a little acid rain or a few hungry creatures are going to stop us?" Helen raises an eyebrow at him. "It's not about what stops us. It's about what we can survive." "We're not invincible, Jake." Jake chuckles, though his voice is laced with just a hint of nervous energy. "I wouldn't be so sure about that. I've built enough backup systems to make sure we're covered. And if worst comes to worst, we've got a few tricks up our sleeves." He taps a series of keys on his console as if to emphasize his point. Dr. Lucas Reed, the archaeologist and biologist who's been scanning through data on the Vorith civilization, looks up from his work with a far-off gaze. "If we survive long enough to even find out what happened to the Vorith, the ruins, they're all anyone talks about, right?" His voice has that same spark of curiosity Aidan's noticed before. The fascination with the unknown, the allure of the ancient. Lucas continues, barely glancing up from his screen. "If they left anything behind, if there's anything we can learn, it could change everything. For us, for humanity, for the galaxy." Aidan nods in agreement, though he's more focused on what's outside. "Right now, Lucas, let's focus on staying alive long enough to see what the Vorith left behind. One step at a time." The shuttle shakes again, a sharp lurch as the descent continues. The air pressure outside begins to feel almost oppressive, the atmosphere of Alara pulling them into its volatile embrace. The instruments start blinking, nothing catastrophic yet, but it's a reminder that this planet is watching them, studying them, as much as they are studying it. The electromagnetic storm outside sends a brief flicker through the shuttle's lights. "We're coming in hot, Captain." Ella Grant, the communications specialist, warns her fingers, moving swiftly over the control panels in front of her. "I'm picking up unusual readings from the atmosphere. Radiation levels are spiking." Aiden's expression hardens. "Hold it steady, Ella. We're almost there. Just another few minutes." As the shuttle gets closer to the surface, the crackling hum outside intensifies the sound almost unbearable. The tension in the cabin rises, and each member of the team knows what's coming. This world is nothing but a giant test of endurance, and so far they haven't even landed yet. Suddenly, a massive pulse of energy floods the cabin and the lights flicker. For a moment, everything goes dark. The team stiffens, ready to react at any moment. "Damn it," Jake mutters, but his voice stays calm. "We're too close to the storm's core. The systems are. Get the external cameras up." Aiden snaps, his voice low and urgent. "There's no time for panic. We need to know what we're dealing with." Jake doesn't hesitate. He taps his screen, bringing up the exterior cameras. The team's eyes snap to the display, showing an image of Alara's surface. What they see is both mesmerizing and terrifying. The ground stretches out in every direction, twisted, jagged rock formations as far as the eye can see. Liquid, toxic, and volatile flows in strange patterns through the valleys. A horizon that seems to bleed with the violent colors of the atmosphere. "This doesn't look right," Lucas says, his voice barely above a whisper. His fingers hover over the console. "Where's the life we were expecting? No plant life. No signs of animals. Nothing. It's completely barren." "It's worse than we thought," Aiden mutters. He's trying to keep his cool, but there's a cold dread beginning to settle in his chest. They'd all heard the stories, read the reports, but seeing it in person, it hits differently. This is just the beginning, team. We can't afford to lose focus. We're here to make this work, or this world will swallow us whole. Amelia unstraps herself from her seat, checking her weapons once more. "We're not getting swallowed, sir. Not while I'm here." Jake quickly begins setting up the portable energy systems. "This place is going to break everything we've got. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that machines adapt. So will we." Helen, always the realist, takes a breath. "The real challenge isn't the tech, Jake. It's the planet itself." "We'll adapt," Aiden says, his eyes fixed on the horizon. One day at a time. As the shuttle's engines begin to cool, the reality of their situation settles in. They've survived the descent, but Lira has only just begun to show them what it's capable of. The ground shifts beneath their feet, and the air crackles with an ominous energy. The storm isn't done with them yet, but neither is humanity. The landing was rough. The shuttle shuddered violently on impact, the sudden force sending tremors through their bones. And yet it was nothing compared to what awaited them outside. The first step onto Alara's surface feels like stepping into the unknown, like stepping into the mouth of a beast that could swallow them whole at any moment. The air is thick, charged with energy, a constant hum that seems to press down on them as if the planet itself is watching, waiting. The atmosphere of Alara is toxic. A faint greenish haze hangs heavy in the air, thick with particulate matter that clings to their skin and their suits. The gravity is just slightly stronger than Earth's, enough to make each movement feel weighted, deliberate. But it's the weather that truly defines this planet. Helen pulls up the visor on her helmet and breathes in, her senses immediately overwhelmed by the smell of sulfur and something more acrid, something metallic. "This place, it's a living nightmare," she mutters. "The air's a mix of nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and toxic gases. We can't stay out here for too long." Jake taps his wrist monitor, already checking the atmospheric readings. "I've got the storm's intensity charted, but a blinding flash interrupts him. The sky splits open with a jagged bolt of lightning, a crack of energy so powerful that it makes the ground beneath their boots vibrate. The electromagnetic storm overhead is a beast in itself, a constant electrical surge that seems to pulse through the air in unpredictable waves. Each bolt seems to carry its own unique charge, arcing with a life of its own. It's not just the lightning, it's the way the atmosphere feels like it's alive, crackling, angry, waiting for the moment to strike. "This storm's unlike anything I've ever seen," Jake says, his voice tight. "It's like the planet's conducting electricity on its own." "I'm more worried about the acid rain," Helen chimes in. "We need to get under shelter now." The first drops of rain come falling with a hissing sound as they strike the ground. The acid in the rain is so potent that even their suits react their outer layers, shimmering in response to the droplets. The rain hits the surface with a sizzling noise, each drop leaving behind a faint trail of smoke as it burns into the ground. It doesn't take much to realize that the acid rain on Alara isn't something any human could stand in for more than a few seconds without protection. Shit, that's going to be a problem, Amelia mutters, her eyes scanning the landscape as the storm swirls overhead. How long before it floods the perimeter? Not long, Aiden responds. He's already thinking ahead, calculating their best move. The base modules need to be up and running and fast. We've got to work quickly. The storm's only getting worse. The rain intensifies and the wind picks up. It howls through the makeshift shelter they've constructed, which is nothing more than a temporary structure hastily assembled to shield them from the worst of the elements. The gusts are almost hurricane force, and the planet's strange, acidic wind feels like it's cutting through their gear. It doesn't take long for the air to grow colder, too. The weather on Alara is as fickle as it is unforgiving. The temperature swings wildly, going from blistering heat to bone-chilling cold in mere minutes. A moment ago, they were sweltering in the unrelenting heat, but now as the storm picks up, the temperature drops, and the cold is sharp, biting through their suits. Shit, Jake swears again. I thought we were past the heat wave. But this planet hell, it doesn't give you a break. The gusts are relentless, lashing against their suits. Amelia braces herself, adjusting her footing to keep steady against the wind. The temperature shift is extreme, and it's only getting worse. Ilara is a planet of extremes. Everything is out of balance here. The very elements twisted and distorted in ways they couldn't have anticipated. The electromagnetic storm, the acid rain, the sudden temperature drops. It's as if the planet is actively trying to kill them. As the acid rain continues to fall, they take refuge under the shelter, which now feels like a tiny island in an ocean of fury. The shelter is built to withstand the initial brunt of the storm, but it's a temporary solution. They need to set up a more permanent base quickly. Get the perimeter up now, Aiden orders. His voice doesn't rise above the wind's howl, but it carries the weight of the situation. We need to build fast. We don't have much time before the storm tears everything apart. They get to work immediately. Jake, already scanning the area, begins setting up the external power systems, using the energy from the planet's frequent lightning strikes to charge their equipment. His hands move quickly, the tech humming as it starts drawing power from the atmosphere. The air feels thick with energy, almost like the planet is feeding off the storms too. It's a strange sensation, but Jake pushes past the unease, focusing on the task at hand. Jake, you've got the equipment, Aiden calls out through the storm, his voice carrying over the chaos. Almost there, Jake replies. He's too focused on the task to be concerned about the weather, but the reality of Alara's atmosphere is starting to set in for everyone. Helen shakes her head as she watches the acid rain burn away at the rocks around them. The composition of this rain, it's like nothing I've seen. It's corrosive to the extreme. We need to stay sheltered, keep the systems covered, or we'll lose everything. We'll be fine, Aiden replies, though there's a touch of uncertainty in his voice. We're humans. We adapt. Amelia, ever the pragmatist, checks her weapon one last time, the weight of it steady in her hands. You know, I always thought this kind of thing was just theoretical. You know, acid, rain, electromagnetic storms, toxic atmospheres. But seeing it for real, it's different. I don't care what it is, Aiden says, locking eyes with her. We've been through worse. We adapt. We survive. As the hours stretch on, the storm rages against them. The wind whips in every direction, carrying the acid rain, and the temperature swings again, this time dropping further. The perimeter of their shelter starts to shift the unstable ground beneath them, making it harder to maintain their footing. The lightning strikes with ever-increasing frequency, turning the sky into a chaotic dance of light and energy. Every few seconds, a bolt rips across the sky, casting eerie shadows across the rocky plains. We can't stay here, Helen says, her voice tight with urgency. The storm will eat us alive if we don't get this base up and running now. Aiden nods, his face grim. We're not staying here. We're building, and we're surviving. The storm rages on above them, the pulse of Ilara's atmosphere continuing to disrupt everything they've worked for. But Aiden doesn't flinch. This is their world now, and they'll make it their own. No matter how hard the planet fights, they'll fight harder. The weather may try to tear them apart, but they have one thing Alara doesn't, the will to survive. And that's something this world can't take away. The storm's fury continues to rage, but the crew has adapted as Aiden knew they would. The shelter they've built is sturdy enough to weather the worst of it, but that doesn't mean they can afford to relax. Ilara's violent atmosphere isn't a temporary nuisance. It's an ever-present threat. The team's focus shifts not just to surviving, but to uncovering the secrets buried deep within the planet's ancient history. The Vorith ruins are calling to them a beacon that may hold the answers to the planet's harsh realities and perhaps humanity's future. The base is still under construction, but the team is no longer waiting idly. There's a fire in their hearts, now a purpose beyond mere survival. Aiden is already planning their next steps. "We can't sit here forever," he says as he stands gazing out at the horizon. The storm is still in full force, but the ruins are tantalizingly close. Their location marked on the planet's scans stands out as a place of interest. Whatever it is, whatever's left of the Vorith civilization, it could change everything. "We've got a job to do," Aiden continues, turning to the team. "We're going to the ruins. No one's getting left behind. We take precautions and we take this slow. This isn't just about finding artifacts, it's about understanding what these people knew, how they survived this planet's wrath. We may learn something that'll help us survive longer." Lucas, his eyes already alight with curiosity, is the first to speak. "You think they were like us survivors who found a way to live here? Or something else?" "I'm not sure," Aiden replies, "but that's why we're going to find out." Helen shakes her head, her expression wary. "We're already dealing with an unforgiving world. I don't know what the Vorith did to make this place habitable, but we should be cautious. Who knows what kind of technology they might have left behind and what it could do to us?" Jake's voice breaks in his hands, already working with various portable scanners and tools. "If they left tech behind, that's exactly why we need to get to it before the storms do any more damage. If we want to get anything useful, now's the time." Amelia looks up from her gear, meeting Aiden's gaze. "We're ready when you are, sir. I'll make sure the perimeter's secured before we move out." With a nod of agreement, Aiden signals the team to gather their things. They've got what they need to explore the ruins: scanners, survival gear, weapons, and most importantly, the resolve to push on despite the planet's unrelenting hostility. Ilara might be a death world, but it's also a treasure trove of potential answers. Answers that could change the course of humanity's history. The journey to the ruins is brutal. Every few steps, the wind picks up again, sending freezing gusts of air, laced with acid rain, slicing across their suits. The electromagnetic pulses continue to grow stronger, making it impossible to ignore the hum of energy in the air. It's as if the planet is alive, and each crackling surge of power is a reminder that they are walking on the edge of a disaster. But the team pushes forward. They follow the scans, weaving between jagged rock formations and rocky terrain that seems to twist in unnatural ways. The weather makes progress slow, but they are determined. The ruins are close now, just over the ridge. The anticipation builds with every step, even as the storm continues to bear down on them. Finally, they crest a hill, and there it is, the Vorith ruins. It's not much to look at from a distance. At first, it appears as nothing more than a series of strange, crumbling stone structures, pyramidal shapes and towering arches that rise above the ground like ancient sentinels. The structures themselves are made of a material that seems to shimmer slightly in the dim light, a metallic sheen that makes them look almost otherworldly. Their edges are smooth, as though they were built using advanced technology far beyond anything humanity has ever encountered. "What is that?" Lucas asks, his voice barely above a whisper as he approaches the ruins. His eyes scan over the material, the design, and the way the structures interact with the electromagnetic pulses around them. "I don't know," Aiden replies, his eyes narrowing as he examines the ruins from a distance. "But it's different. It doesn't react to storms like the rest of the planet. This tech is something else." Helen takes a cautious step forward, looking over the ruins, her medical expertise now taking a back seat to the sheer mystery of the place. It doesn't make sense. How could they build something like this and survive on this planet? Look at the state of everything around us. There's nothing living here except us. "We should investigate," Lucas says, eager as ever. These structures could hold the key to everything. If they could make this place livable. Careful read. Amelia interrupts, her tone serious. We don't know what's waiting for us inside. Stay on your guard. Aiden nods in agreement. We move slowly. We take no chances. If this place has been untouched for thousands of years, there's no telling what kind of defense systems might still be active. We don't know what the Vorth were capable of. As they approach the ruins, the electromagnetic pulses grow stronger, almost as if the structures themselves are drawing power from the storm. The air is thick with the crackling energy, and the team can feel the hairs on the back of their necks stand on end. The ruins are both beautiful and unsettling, a testament to the Vorth's knowledge and their technological superiority. When they reach the entrance to one of the larger structures, a massive archway that seems to loom over them, Aiden steps forward. His hand hovers near the door, and for a moment he feels the unmistakable weight of something ancient, something powerful pressing down on him. It's as though the ruins are alive, waiting for them to make the first move. I don't like this, Helen says, her voice low. She's not afraid, she never shows fear, but even she can't ignore the strange energy emanating from the ruins. Something feels off about this place. It's almost like it's watching us. Aiden nods, but his focus doesn't waver. He can feel it too, the weight of history bearing down on them. The ruins are not just a discovery, they're a warning. But whatever's inside, whatever knowledge the Vorth left behind, is within their grasp. They've come this far. They can't turn back now. With a deep breath, Aiden steps forward, pushing aside the strange sense of unease. Let's see what we can find. But remember, we're not just here to explore. We're here to survive. They step into the ruins, leaving the storm behind, and enter a world that's long since passed, but which holds the keys to their future. The interior of the Vorth ruins is unlike anything any of them have seen before. The air is heavier here, thick with the scent of age and dust, but also something else, a faint metallic tang, like the ozone after a lightning strike. The temperature is cooler than outside, a welcome relief after the blistering heat of Alara's surface, though the air is still heavy with electricity. The walls of the structure seem to pulse faintly, reacting to the electromagnetic storms outside in ways the team can't fully comprehend. Strange markings and patterns are etched into the stone-like material, glowing intermittently with a soft pulsing light. These aren't like anything the team has seen in human technology, alien, yes, but at the same time oddly familiar in their precision. They look almost intentional, as if the entire structure is alive, breathing in tune with the storm. I've never seen anything like this, Lucas says, his voice filled with awe. He's already scanning the walls, his eyes bright with excitement. The Vorth had some kind of energy manipulation tech. This whole place seems to function as a conduit for power. It's like it's harnessing the storm itself. Aiden moves to the center of the room, where a series of crystalline structures rise from the floor. Each one is translucent, with veins of light pulsing through them, connecting to the walls and to each other. They form a web of energy, a network that seems to tap into the very heart of the planet. I think this is how they survived here, Helen says, her voice calm but filled with intrigue. These crystals, they're channels for the storm. The Vorth could harness Alara's storms, convert them into usable energy. That's how they made this place habitable. Jake steps forward, inspecting the crystals with an engineer's sharp eye. If we can figure out how to tap into this, we might be able to adapt it for our own systems. Imagine having a constant energy source that we don't have to rely on the storm for. Hell, it could power everything. Amelia, ever practical, scans the surroundings warily. Sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? We don't know yet. Aiden replies, his tone still cautious. But whatever the Vorth did here, we need to figure it out fast. We don't have time to waste. Lucas, scanning the markings on the walls, turns back to the group. These symbols, they might be instructions or schematics. If I can decode them, we could understand how to use the technology. I'll help, Jake says, already pulling out a portable analyzer from his pack. We've got the tech, but if we don't have the right knowledge, it's useless. Aiden watches as Jake and Lucas work together, their hands moving quickly, analyzing the crystalline network and the wall markings. It's slow going, nothing they've seen so far is straightforward, and they're dealing with a technology that's light years ahead of anything humanity has yet achieved. After hours of careful study, Jake pulls back, wiping sweat from his brow. I think I've got it. He announces, his voice a mix of exhaustion and triumph. The crystals are a form of energy conversion. They pull in the electromagnetic pulses and convert them into usable power. If we can replicate the process, we could generate unlimited energy directly from the storms. What's the catch? Amelia repeats, her skepticism clear. No catch, just a few kinks to work out, Jake says with a grin. But if we can make it work, it'll revolutionize everything. We wouldn't need to rely on traditional power sources. The storms themselves become our fuel. Aiden nods, but his mind is racing. This changes everything. The storms, the very thing that's been trying to kill them, could now be their greatest asset. Can you set it up back at the base, he asks. Jake hesitates, then nods. I think so. We've got the equipment to build a prototype. It won't be pretty, but it'll work. At least for a while. Then let's move out, Aiden commands. We get the tech back to the base and start working on making it stable. We're not waiting for the storm to wipe us out. We turn it into an advantage. As the team makes their way back to the shelter, the realization of what they've just uncovered begins to settle in. The Vorith may have been long gone, but their legacy lives on. And humanity for the first time has a chance to survive on Lira. Not just survive, but thrive. Back at the base, Jake and Lucas immediately set to work, using the data they've gathered from the ruins to reverse engineer the technology. It's no easy task. The storm rages overhead, its intensity almost overwhelming, but Jake is undeterred. The design is complicated, but he's made adjustments to their equipment, fine-tuning it to adapt to the unique energy signatures of Lira's storms. This could take a while, Jake says, as he calibrates the prototype, his fingers flying over the controls. But if I'm right, this will power everything we need, and we won't have to worry about running out of fuel again. Helen is watching from the sidelines, studying the storm outside. The storms, they're growing stronger, she says, her voice tense. If this works, it's going to be our lifeline. But if we don't get it right, we could be in even more trouble. Aiden walks over, his eyes scanning the horizon. We don't have the luxury of time. We make this work or we fail. But I trust you, Jake. Do it. Hours pass as Jake continues to tweak the system. The electromagnetic pulses outside are growing stronger. The frequency of lightning strikes intensifying. But finally, there's a breakthrough. The first test run. Jake activates the prototype, and for a brief moment, the base flickers. The lights buzz, and the air seems to hum with energy as the system stabilizes. It's working. We've got power, Jake says, his voice barely above a whisper. It's working. Aiden steps forward, a rare smile tugging at the corner of his lips. We've got a foothold then. Let's not waste it. The team gathers around the console, watching as the energy systems stabilize. The hum of power running through the base is a sound they've longed for. It's the first real victory they've had on Lira, a sign that they can not only survive here, but eventually conquer it. This is just the beginning, Aiden says, his voice steady, even as the storm outside continues to rage. We'll use this technology to push back against this planet. We won't just survive, we'll thrive. They've turned the tide, and now they hold the key to making Lira their home. It's been weeks since the team set foot on Lira, and while they've made significant progress in securing their foothold on the planet, the sense of triumph is tinged with an ever-present unease. The storm outside rages on, yes, but so does the storm brewing on the other side of the galaxy, the growing tension with the Galactic Council. Though humanity's success on Lira is far from secret, it has certainly caught the Council's attention. Messages from Earth delivered through the few functioning communication links they have are growing more frequent. At first, they were just routine check-ins. Now they're becoming more insistent, more urgent. The tone in the messages is shifting from friendly curiosity to something more controlling. Humanity's unexpected success in surviving and even thriving on Lira is a threat to the established order, and the Council is beginning to realize it. Captain Aiden Maxwell sits in the dimly lit command room of their base, staring at the flickering communication screen. Ella Grant, the team's communications specialist, is sitting beside him, monitoring the incoming transmissions. She's been quieter lately, her once sharp focus now clouded by the realization of what's at stake. You know it's only a matter of time before they try to take this from us, Ella says, her voice tight with concern. Aiden doesn't respond immediately. He's been thinking the same thing for days. The Galactic Council isn't one to let anything slip through their fingers, and humanity's discovery of ancient Vorith technology could very well tip the balance of power in the galaxy. The more they learn about Alara and the Vorith, the more dangerous it becomes for the established powers. If the Council realizes what humanity has uncovered here, they won't hesitate to act whether the team wants to share their findings or not. What are we going to do about it? Ella presses her fingers, still hovering over the console, poised to send out a message. They won't just let us keep this planet to ourselves, Aiden. They'll come for it. They'll come for us. I know, Aiden says finally, his tone grim. I'm trying to figure that out. We can't afford to let them take this from us. The Vorith technology is too powerful. It could change everything. Helen enters the room, her expression thoughtful but weary. I've been analyzing the weather systems, and I'm getting more worried by the day. These storms are getting stronger, worse than they were when we first arrived. There's something about this place that's unstable. Amelia follows her in a fresh set of scans in her hand. I've been scouting around the perimeter. We've got movement out there, likely local wildlife, but if we're not careful, they could get more aggressive. They might be attracted to the energy we're tapping into. Aiden leans back in his chair, rubbing his temples as the weight of it all presses down on him. We've got bigger problems than wildlife. The Council's watching us. They've sent more ships to the border of Alara's system. I can feel it. It won't be long before they come to investigate. Then we need to make our move first, Jake says from the doorway, his voice low but firm. The engineer looks more like a soldier every day, his determination obvious. We've been playing nice so far, but if they want this technology, they'll have to fight for it. We've got a damn good advantage, and I say we use it. I'm not looking for a fight, Jake Aiden replies, his voice calm but resolute. But if the Council forces our hand, we'll be ready. Jake looks at him for a moment, then nods. Just make sure you have me on the front lines when that day comes. Lucas enters the room next, carrying a data pad, his eyes wide with excitement. I've been translating more of the Vorith texts. It's incredible there's more here than just the energy systems. There's something in their history, their technology, that could shift the entire balance of the galaxy. They weren't just survivors, they were conquerors. Aiden stands and walks over to him. What are you saying, Lucas? The Vorith didn't just harness the storms, they harnessed entire planetary systems, Lucas explains. What I'm seeing here suggests they had the ability to manipulate matter on a molecular level, create energy shields and terraform environments. We're talking about technology that could render entire fleets obsolete. If we can crack it, Aiden's eyes narrow, his thoughts racing. That's why the Council's getting nervous. It's not just the Council. Helen adds, her voice steady but serious. There are other factions out there. Pirates, mercenaries, independent colonies. If word gets out about what we've uncovered, there's no telling who will come knocking. We'll be ready, Aiden says, determined in his voice. We'll turn the tides in our favor. We've got the technology now, thanks to the Vorith, and we're not letting it fall into the wrong hands. The team spends the next few days in overdrive, working non-stop to refine their systems. Jake focuses on improving the power generation systems, ensuring that the energy harvested from the storms will be sustainable in the long term. Lucas is absorbed in deciphering more of the Vorith technology, hoping to find a breakthrough that could give them an even greater edge. Meanwhile, Aiden spends hours communicating with Earth, sending updates to the Galactic Council's representatives, trying to keep the peace, but he knows the messages will only last for so long. The tension is palpable, and it's only a matter of time before the Council makes their move. Days pass, and the storm continues to rage. The planet itself seems alive with energy, the air thick with the hum of power as it ripples through the atmosphere. The team's work continues at full throttle, but even as they make progress, a sense of impending doom looms over them. Then one evening, the warning system blares. The communication screen flickers to life with an urgent transmission from Earth. It's not a routine check-in. Captain Maxwell, the voice on the other end, crackles. This is Admiral Davis of the Galactic Council. We need to speak immediately. Aiden's stomach tightens. He knew it was coming. The storm is no longer just on Alara. It's closing in from all sides. We're listening. Aiden says, his voice steady, but his mind racing. The Council's decision is final. Admiral Davis continues. We are sending a fleet to your location. The Vorith technology will be seized. You are to stand down and submit the data you've gathered immediately. Aiden's heart skips a beat. The storm has arrived. We're not backing down. Aiden replies, his tone cold, resolute. We've made our choice, Admiral. We won't let you take it from us. There's a long pause on the other end. Then finally the Admiral speaks again. Prepare yourselves, Captain. The Council does not take kindly to defiance. The line goes dead. Aiden stands motionless, the weight of the moment settling in. The battle for Alara has officially begun. The transmission ends, but the tension lingers in the air long after the communication link has gone dark. The team remains silent for a moment, each person digesting the weight of the Admiral's words. The storm outside rages relentlessly, but it feels secondary to the one brewing within the team. The Galactic Council's fleet is coming. Their intention is clear: seize the Vorth technology by force, whether humanity likes it or not. And that leaves Aiden and his team with only one option: defend what is theirs, no matter the cost. Aiden turns to face the team, his expression hardening. We've known this day was coming, but now we don't have the luxury of hesitation. We need to make sure we're ready. The Council won't stop until they get what they want. It's up to us to stop them. Helen, ever the voice of reason, steps forward. We don't even know how much force the Council will bring. This might be just the beginning. If they're sending a fleet, they could have reinforcements waiting in the wings. And we can't wait for them to hit us first, Jake adds, his eyes narrowing. We've got the technology now, but they won't hesitate to destroy us if we're caught off guard. Aiden nods. That's why we need to act fast. We've got enough resources to make this planet our fortress, but it won't last forever. The storms won't shield us from their ships. If we don't push back, we risk losing everything we've built. Amelia clenches her fists, her face hardening. So we're not just building a base anymore? We're building a defense. Exactly, Aiden says, turning to the map of their base layout projected on the wall. We'll need to use everything we've learned about Alara's weather to our advantage. The storms, the electromagnetic pulses, they're not just threats, they're tools we can use. I've been analyzing the weather patterns, and it's clear that we can't use traditional methods to defend ourselves. Helen explains, her voice calm but focused. The electromagnetic storms are far too volatile, and their intensity changes constantly. If we try to use any form of direct weaponry, it'll likely short-circuit. Jake steps up, pointing to a series of designs on a screen. What if we turn the planet's own storms into weapons? If we can manipulate the energy from these electromagnetic pulses, we could weaponize them. The technology we've recovered from the Vorth could give us an edge. Aiden raises an eyebrow. Weaponize the storms? Exactly, Jake replies, grinning. If we replicate the energy conversion tech we found, we could amplify the pulses, turning them into concentrated blasts. It wouldn't be a traditional weapon, but it'd be enough to make the Council think twice. Aiden's mind races. It's a bold idea, but if it works, it could change the entire tide of the battle. We need to start setting up the infrastructure. We'll turn the storm's energy into a defense system. No one will be able to get within range without triggering the defense grid. I'll get started on the modifications, Jake says, already turning to leave. Not yet, Aiden says. We need to secure the perimeter first. We don't know when the Council's ships will arrive, and we can't risk being caught off guard. Amelia nods, her voice calm but deadly serious. I'll take care of the outer defenses. I know the terrain out there. I'll set up barriers and traps. If they try to land, they'll find more than just storm clouds waiting for them. And I'll focus on the tech, Lucas says, tapping a few keys on his console. The Vorth tech is unlike anything we've seen before, but I think we can adapt it. We'll need to build energy conductors and shields to handle the raw power. Helen, glancing out at the storm outside, shakes her head slightly. And we need to keep an eye on the ecosystem. If the Council starts sending troops to the surface, the wildlife may get more aggressive. They might not be able to survive in the storms, but they're still dangerous. I'll handle that, Amelia replies, already preparing to go. I'll set up deterrents and make sure nothing slips through the cracks. Aiden looks at his team, each one of them preparing for what's to come. He can feel the weight of the decisions settling over him. He never wanted this. He never wanted to be in a position where humanity would have to fight for survival against the Galactic Council. But now there's no turning back. They've survived Alara's deadly storms, its bizarre wildlife, and its hostile environment. But the Council? That's something else entirely. The first wave will be here soon. Aiden says, his voice quiet but commanding. We need to be ready. This is about more than just us now. It's about the future of humanity. And we will not back down. The team nods in agreement, their resolve hardening like steel. Each person knows what's at stake now. It's no longer just about surviving the planet, it's about holding on to the future they fought for. The storm outside continues to rage, but inside they are ready for the fight ahead. As they set to work, the hum of the electromagnetic pulses outside grows stronger. It's a constant reminder that Alara is not a planet that can be tamed. But if the team can learn to harness its energy, they might just be able to turn its raw fury into their greatest weapon. Hours pass in a blur of activity. The team works through the night building, fortifying and adapting their plans. The storm's power is harnessed, converted into usable energy, and stored in massive capacitors they've built using the Vorath technology. These capacitors are designed to release bursts of energy when triggered, amplifying the electromagnetic pulses into a powerful energy wave. They've created the perfect defense system, one that will use Alara's rage against any who dare to challenge them. Just as they finish the final adjustments, the communication screen flashes to life again. This time it's a secure transmission marked as urgent. Aiden steps forward, his pulse quickening, as he prepares for whatever the council will throw at them. Captain Maxwell, the voice on the other end, says, its tone cold and official. This is Admiral Davis once more. You are hereby ordered to stand down and surrender your findings. If you do not comply, we will take action. Aiden takes a deep breath, his eyes scanning the faces of his team, each of them ready for what's next. Admiral, the time for negotiations is over. If you want this planet, you'll have to take it from us. There's a long pause on the other end. Then Admiral Davis responds, his voice laced with menace. We will. Prepare yourselves. The line goes dead. Aiden looks at his team, his resolve unshaken. The storm is coming, and this time it's not just from the sky. It's time, Aiden says, his voice steady. Let's show them what humanity is capable of. The battle for Lira has begun, and humanity is ready to fight. The atmosphere in the command center is thick with anticipation. The storm outside rages relentlessly, but the team is no longer focused on it. The countdown has begun, the Galactic Council's fleet is nearing Alara's orbit, and their threat is no longer a distant possibility. It's now an imminent reality. Inside the makeshift control room, every member of the team is at their post. Aiden stands near the communications console, his fingers tapping rhythmically as he monitors incoming transmissions. The tension in the air is palpable, and even Ella, who usually remains calm under pressure, is visibly tense. We've got their fleet on approach, Ella says, breaking the silence, her voice steady but tight. They're within range. Aiden looks over at her. Any signs of them opening communication? Not yet, Ella replies, though her fingers dance nervously over the console. But I expect they'll make their move soon. They'll want to talk before they start anything serious. I don't think we'll be doing much talking, Amelia interjects from her station. She's already checking her weapon, a hardened look on her face as she glances over the defensive layout Jake and Lucas have set up. If they want Alara, they'll have to come through us. Helen steps into the room, her face tense but resolute. She's been monitoring the storm, the electromagnetic pulses that the team has weaponized, making sure everything is functioning properly. The storm's at its peak right now. We can't afford to hold back. If we use the energy burst, it'll short out their systems long enough for us to secure the base. But it's not going to last forever. We'll have to make sure they know they're not going to get any more chances. Aiden nods grimly. We've prepared and we're ready. If they think they can just waltz in here and take what's ours, they're mistaken. The moments stretch into an eternity, each second filled with the weight of what's to come. The Galactic Council's fleet is approaching fast, and Aiden knows that time is running out. They can't afford to wait for them to make the first move. They'll have to take the initiative and make sure the Council knows that this isn't a battle they can win. This is it, Aiden finally says, his voice calm but filled with unwavering determination. Prepare for immediate defense. All teams stand by. As the team gets into position, the communication screen flickers once more. This time it's the Galactic Council's official envoy. The face of Admiral Davis fills the screen, his expression stern, his eyes cold. Captain Maxwell, the Admiral, begins, his tone clipped. You have had your chance. You are instructed to surrender all data and cease all hostile actions immediately. Failure to comply will result in immediate military intervention. Aiden doesn't flinch. Admiral Davis, we've been through this. We won't be giving you anything. We found something here. something powerful. It belongs to humanity now, not the Council. If you want it, you'll have to take it by force. Davis's expression hardens, his voice dropping to an icy tone. You're making a grave mistake, Captain. You are not equipped to face the might of the Galactic Council. We have more than just a fleet. We have the resources to wipe you off this planet and erase every trace of your mission. You're welcome to try, Aiden replies, his voice steady, almost calm. But this isn't Earth. This is Lira. And you're going to have to deal with more than just our guns. The Admiral's eyes narrow. So be it. You've sealed your fate. The transmission abruptly ends. Aiden stands motionless for a moment, his eyes locked onto the empty screen. The reality of what's to come is now unmistakable. The Council won't hesitate, they'll send everything they have. But they've underestimated one thing. The storms outside, the very force of nature that's been Lira's greatest threat, can now be wielded against them. Jake Aiden says, his voice low but sharp. Are we ready? Jake doesn't hesitate. Systems are online. The energy capacitors are primed. We can trigger the pulses at any moment. Good, Aiden replies. Let's make sure they know who they're up against. The storm outside seems to respond, growing louder and more violent, as if the planet itself is bracing for the battle. The electromagnetic pulses crackle and surge with unnatural intensity. It's like a living, breathing force, and Aiden can feel the tension in the air, the electricity building with every second. Here they come, Ella says, her voice barely a whisper. The distant hum of Council ships echoes across the base's comm system. The countdown is over and the enemy fleet is on approach. They're coming fast and relentless. Aiden watches the ships draw closer, each one an imposing silhouette against the storm-ridden sky. Then, without warning, the first wave of Council ships appears on the scanners, large, heavily armed vessels that could tear through their defenses with ease. But what they don't know is that Lira itself is their enemy. Now Jake Aiden commands. Jake hits the activation button with a single fluid motion. The hum of energy builds, vibrating through the base as the system comes online. Outside, the first burst of energy shoots into the sky, a jagged bolt of lightning amplified and directed by the Vorth technology. It arcs toward the Council fleet, slamming into their shields with a force that cracks and sparks across their hulls. The pulse isn't enough to destroy them, but it's enough to disable their systems, sending waves of electrical disruption through their ships. Direct hit, Jake announces, watching the screen. Their shields are down. We've disabled their engines. The fleet falters, the ships drifting slightly off course. But Aiden knows this is just the beginning. The first Council vessel struggles to regain control, but the storm's energy is relentless, sending surge after surge of concentrated pulses toward them. It's clear now, Lira's wrath turned into a weapon is a force to be reckoned with. The ships are scrambling, their shields flickering and failing as they try to maneuver through the barrage of energy. We've got them on the ropes, Aiden says, his voice filled with grim satisfaction. But don't get cocky, this is only the beginning. As the Council fleet begins to recover, they launch their retaliatory strike. Missiles and energy blasts rain down on the base, but Lira's storm-shielded defenses hold strong. The base has been fortified, the Vorth tech integrated into every layer, making it an unyielding fortress against their onslaught. We've got incoming, Amelia warns, her eyes darting across the screen. They're deploying ground forces. This is going to get ugly. We can handle them, Aiden replies. Everyone get ready. The fight's not over. The team stands united, each person prepared for the inevitable clash. The Vorth technology is their lifeline, but it's also their weapon, and they will use it to ensure that humanity's future on Lira is not one decided by the Council, but one forged by their own hands. As the storm outside rages even more fiercely, Aiden knows one thing for certain: they will fight for Lira. And this time, the Council won't stand a chance. The battle has begun, and the team's sense of unity and purpose becomes sharper than ever. The base hums with life as every person does their part, each in their element. Jake at the tech consoles, Lucas coordinating with the Vorth technology, Helen monitoring the team's health, and Amelia preparing the perimeter for the inevitable ground assault. They're all aware that the Council's forces will be relentless, but they are resolute. Outside, the storm has intensified. Lira's fury is now a weapon they control, the amplified pulses of energy arcing out across the sky like jagged bolts of vengeance. Every time one of the Council's ships tries to break through the pulses, hit with the force of a hammer, disrupting their engines and disabling their shields. The first wave is already faltering, but the fight is far from over. We've knocked out their engines, but they're not backing down, Aiden says, his eyes scanning the tactical feed. They're trying to regroup. We need to keep the pressure on. We've got to be careful, Helen warns, her voice steady but laced with concern. These ships are designed to withstand a lot of punishment. They'll adapt. If we don't disrupt their communication systems, they'll coordinate an even stronger offensive. Aiden glances at her, his brow furrowed. How do we stop that? Take out their relay stations, she replies. We need to jam their comms, keep them from coordinating. Ella, Aiden says, turning to their communications specialist. Can you get in touch with Earth? Tell them to prepare for the possibility of a full-scale invasion? Ella, her face set in concentration, nods. I'll get a message through. It might not be fast, but I can send out a warning to the Federation's fleet. Aiden nods and turns to the rest of the team. Amelia, you and I will head out to take out their relay stations. The rest of you keep working on those energy pulses. We need to keep disrupting their fleet. Amelia looks at him, her face hardening with determination. It'll be a fight, but I'm ready. They prepare to head outside the storm, outside the base, an overwhelming force of nature. The winds are howling, sending gusts of rain and acid in all directions. The ground is unstable, shifting beneath their boots, as if the planet itself is alive, reacting to their intrusion. Yet despite the harsh conditions, there's no hesitation in their steps. As Aiden and Amelia exit the shelter, the air feels electric, literally. The electromagnetic pulse of the storm presses against them, the air thick with static. Every movement feels slightly off, as if the planet itself is forcing them to adjust to its erratic nature. Amelia steps forward, her boots squelching in the mud, her weapon at the ready. I've got our 6, she mutters, her voice focused. Let's make this quick. They move quickly, their eyes constantly scanning the horizon. The ground shakes beneath them as another pulse from the storm blasts the Council fleet, sending another vessel spiraling out of control. But they can't afford to focus on that. Their mission is clear: disable the relay stations, prevent the Council from communicating with its fleet, and stop the ground troops from reinforcing their efforts. As they approach the first relay station, the air grows colder, the crackling energy more intense. The station is a towering structure made of the same shimmering material as the Vorith ruins, but it's heavily fortified. It's clear that the Council has prepared for potential sabotage. The outer walls are reinforced, and automated turrets are positioned at key points around the base. Looks like they're expecting us, Aiden says, eyes narrowing. Time to give them a surprise. Amelia taps her comm. Jake, we need to disable the turrets. Can you hack into their systems? Jake's voice crackles through the comms. Working on it now. Give me a second. Aiden watches as the automated turrets track their movement, their sensors locking on. The steady thrum of the storm intensifies, and then with a soft beep, the turrets freeze in place, their targeting systems failing. Nice work, Jake, Aiden mutters. Now let's make sure we're not walking into a trap. The two of them rush toward the base, their weapons raised. They reach the entrance where the storm has left everything slick and unstable. Aiden carefully examines the security grid before taking out a small device, attaching it to the wall. The electromagnetic energy that Lira gives off is a double-edged sword. It can be used as a weapon, but it can also disrupt the Council's technology. Using that to his advantage, Aiden triggers the device, sending a pulse through the station systems. The door to the relay station opens with a loud mechanical whine, the automated defenses momentarily deactivated. Aiden and Amelia push inside, the flickering lights casting long shadows as they move through the dark corridors. Stay sharp, Aiden whispers. We don't know what's waiting inside. They move deeper into the station, carefully navigating the darkened hallways. The air is thick with the smell of burning circuitry and dampness, the walls lined with ancient tech that hums faintly under their touch. It's a strange feeling, stepping into something so advanced yet so alien, almost like walking through a forgotten world. Anything yet? Aiden asks. Amelia scans the room, her eyes scanning for any movement. Not yet. But I've got a feeling this place isn't as empty as it looks. As if on cue, a loud crash echoes through the building, followed by the sound of heavy footsteps. Aiden's instincts kick in immediately. Ambush, he mutters. Get ready. From the shadows, a group of Council soldiers emerges, heavily armored and wielding energy rifles. The first shot rings out and Aiden instinctively ducks, grabbing Amelia and pulling her behind cover. The storm's energy outside is no longer a distant threat. It's now a very real part of the battle as the electromagnetic pulses distort the soldiers' weapons, rendering them partially useless. "Nice timing," Amelia says, a grin forming on her face as she prepares to return fire. "We should have expected this." Aiden focuses on the soldiers, calculating their movements. They're not prepared for the terrain. We have the advantage. With a sudden movement, Aiden rolls from behind cover, firing 2 precise shots that knock out 2 of the soldiers' weapons. Amelia follows suit, taking down another with a shot to the chest. The remaining soldiers hesitate, disoriented by the interference from the storm and the team's surprise assault. Now Aiden commands. Amelia charges, sweeping forward with a rapid, coordinated assault. The council soldiers are no match for their guerrilla tactics in the midst of Alara's chaos. The final soldier drops to the ground, his body crumpling under the force of Amelia's attack. With the immediate threat neutralized, Aiden moves to the relay station's central control panel. The council's encrypted systems are complicated, but the Vorath tech within the station offers a hint of familiarity. "Here we go," he mutters as he taps into the interface, his fingers flying over the console. The screen flickers, the data flowing faster than he can process. And then with a final click, the station powers down. "We've disabled their communications," Aiden says, his voice firm, but with an edge of satisfaction. "They're blind now." Amelia grins. "One down, how many more to go?" Aiden looks at her, his expression serious once again. "As many as it takes." The storm outside rages on, but this time it's on their side. The battle is far from over, but for the first time since the conflict began, Aiden feels a glimmer of hope. They've successfully disabled one of the relay stations, cutting off the council's ability to coordinate their fleet's movements. The ground troops have been neutralized, but the council isn't one to back down so easily. Aiden knows they've only bought themselves a brief reprieve. The fight is far from finished. As they return to the base, their footsteps heavy with exhaustion, the storm outside continues to swirl in a chaotic dance. The electromagnetic pulses are relentless, and even though the team's newly designed energy systems are holding up, Aiden can't shake the feeling that they are only delaying the inevitable. The team regroups in the control room, the mood somber but determined. "There's no time to rest, not yet. Good work, everyone." Aiden says, his voice calm but filled with respect. "We've made a significant dent in their plans, but they're not going to stop. We need to press forward." Lucas, who has been scanning the data from the Vorath ruins, looks up from his console. His eyes are wide, filled with the kind of excitement that only comes with a major discovery. "Captain, you need to see this." Aiden walks over to him, his curiosity piqued. Lucas gestures to the screen where an encrypted data file has appeared. It's a message, one buried deep within the council's communication system. At first glance, it appears to be nothing more than a string of code. But as Lucas decodes it, the meaning becomes clearer. "What is this?" Aiden asks. "It's a transmission from the Vorath themselves," Lucas replies, his voice tinged with disbelief. "This is ancient, older than anything we found before. But it's in their language. They've been preparing for this." Aiden's heart skips a beat. "What do you mean the Vorath knew about the council? I think they did." Lucas says, his fingers dancing over the console. "This transmission was sent from here, from Alara. It's almost like they were anticipating something, an invasion maybe. This technology, the Vorath knew something was coming. They were preparing for a conflict like the one we're in right now." Aiden stares at the screen, the implications of Lucas's words settling over him like a cold shadow. The Vorath weren't just survivors. They weren't simply trying to survive on Alara's hostile surface. They were preparing for something much larger, a battle against a power that they knew would one day come for them. "This transmission is a warning," Lucas continues, his voice low. "The Vorath knew they were going to be hunted. They were trying to find a way to defend themselves against the council, and they left these clues for anyone who could decipher them." Aiden's mind races as he processes the information. So all this time, the Vorath have been preparing a defense, something we can use. But why hide it? "It's like a puzzle," Lucas replies. "Each discovery we've made, each piece of Vorath technology, has led us closer to the truth. This message is a key. They knew that one day someone would find their ruins and piece it all together." Aiden rubs his jaw thoughtfully. "So the Vorath weren't just survivors, they were strategists. They built this planet's storms, the electromagnetic pulses, to shield themselves from the Council. And they left us this technology to unlock their secrets. Helen steps forward, her eyes scanning the decoded message. If they were preparing for an invasion, then it's not just the Council we need to worry about. If they're still out there, or if their enemies knew about this technology, there could be other forces out there who want to take Alara for themselves. Aiden nods. I've thought about that. The Vorth didn't just hide technology here for the Council to find. They were preparing for more than just one battle. They knew their civilization was at risk, and they left a final line of defense for whoever would come after them. The room is silent for a moment, the gravity of their situation weighing heavily on them all. Aiden knows that the discovery of the Vorth's true purpose could change everything. If they can unlock the full extent of their technology, humanity could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. But if they don't, there are forces out there, forces that won't hesitate to take Alara from them. We've only scratched the surface, Aiden says, his voice filled with resolve. We need to push forward. There's more here, more we need to understand. If we can unlock the full potential of the Vorth's technology, we can not only defend Alara, but make sure that humanity isn't just a player in this game. We can be the ones calling the shots. Jake, who's been working on the energy conversion system, steps forward, his eyes focused. I'm not going to lie, it's going to take time. We're dealing with something far beyond anything we've built, but we've got the pieces now. We can make this work. We just need to keep pushing, keep experimenting. Aiden turns to him, his gaze steady. Then let's get to work. This planet's not going to wait for us. The Council is coming, and when they get here, they'll find out just what humanity is capable of. As the team prepares to head back into the field, Aiden feels a surge of determination. The Vorth may have hidden their secrets, but they've left a path for humanity to follow. Alara is no longer just a place to survive. It's a treasure trove of ancient power, a weapon that could change the entire galaxy. But with that power comes the greatest challenge yet. The Council isn't going to give up easily. They've already sent their forces and they're preparing to take Alara by force. The storm is coming, but this time it won't be the weather that decides their fate. It will be humanity's will. The team heads out once again, moving through the darkened hallways of the base, each of them prepared for whatever comes next. Aiden can feel the weight of their resolve, the belief that they can win. They've survived the storm outside. They can survive anything the galaxy throws at them. As they move toward the next stage of their mission, Aiden looks out at the horizon, the storm clouds swirling violently overhead. The sky is dark, but it's not the storm he's worried about anymore. It's what comes after. And he knows one thing for sure: humanity won't back down. The first few weeks on Alara had been a test of survival. Now the battle is far beyond that. It's a contest for the future of humanity. The Galactic Council might have underestimated humanity's ability to thrive in the most hostile environment, but they are quickly realizing their mistake. What started as an exploratory mission has transformed into an all-out struggle to defend what is rightfully theirs: Alara, its Vorth technology, and the very future of their place in the galaxy. The storm outside rages in sync with the chaos unfolding inside. The Council's fleet is still there, hovering just outside Alara's orbit, but now their position is precarious. Thanks to the energy pulses they've harnessed from Alara's electromagnetic storms, humanity has turned the tables. Every burst of energy that shakes the atmosphere sends shockwaves through the Council's fleet, disrupting their systems, jamming their communication lines, and leaving them struggling to regain control. I've never seen anything like it, Jake says, his eyes glued to the screen, watching as another one of the Council ships veers off course. The storm's energy is feeding directly into their shields. It's like they're trying to fight off a force of nature. Amelia, standing watch by the main console, nods. And the best part is they're not prepared for it. They think they can just blow through this storm and take us down. They have no idea what's really waiting for them. The base is alive with activity, each team member working in perfect synchronization. Lucas and Helen are fine-tuning their understanding of the Vorth tech, digging deeper into the ancient data, trying to unlock more secrets to better weaponize the storm. Jake continues refining their energy pulses, working on new ways to harness the planet's natural storms for both defense and offense. Ella maintains a constant line to Earth, her fingers tapping furiously as she updates them on the ongoing developments and keeps communication open with the Federation's fleet, making sure they're prepared in case the situation escalates. Aiden stands arms crossed, staring at the swirling storm outside. His mind races not only with plans for defense, but with the growing realization of just how much the Galactic Council underestimated humanity's will to survive. And if they push any further, humanity will not only survive, but will fight back with everything it has. Time to move, Aiden says, breaking the silence. His voice is calm but carries the weight of the decisions that have been made. We've been playing defense long enough. It's time to take the fight to them. The team reacts immediately, each member knowing what's at stake. Amelia steps forward, already strapping on her combat gear. What's the plan? Captain Aiden looks around at each of them. We've disrupted their fleet. We've disabled their communications. Now it's time to deal with the ground forces. We need to make sure they know that Alara is not a place they can occupy. We'll take out their landing zones and fortifications. And we'll make sure the Council knows they're not dealing with an experiment, they're dealing with a species that's capable of taking control of its own destiny. Lucas, ever the strategist, takes a deep breath. We've studied their positions. The Council's forces have set up 2 major landing zones on the surface. If we take those out, it will cripple their ability to launch an invasion. I'll work on their landing routes. If we can set up ambushes in the right places, we'll cripple their ability to respond. Aiden nods in approval. Exactly. They don't know the terrain here. We do. I'll handle the rest, Jake says, his grin sharp. We'll make sure they can't get their tech back online. The last thing they'll want is for us to start adapting their own systems. Helen's voice cuts through the strategy. Remember, it's not just their tech we need to worry about. If they bring in ground troops, we'll be fighting in their terrain, their command centers. If we're going to hit them, it needs to be surgical. We can't afford any missteps. Aiden gives her a firm look. We'll be precise. We don't have the luxury of time. Let's make sure they understand one thing: this planet is ours, and they won't take it from us. The plan is set in motion. The base becomes a flurry of activity as the team works to secure the outer perimeter and prepare for their offensive. The storm continues to howl outside, but it feels almost like a natural ally, its energy now under their control, turning the planet's chaotic weather into the weapon they need. The air crackles with tension as the first wave of Council forces attempts to land. But the storm is their enemy, and as soon as they descend, the energy pulses rip through their ships, sending them veering off course. The Council's ground forces are scattered as they attempt to establish a foothold, only to find the terrain itself working against them. Amelia on the front lines takes full advantage of their disarray. Using their knowledge of Alira's treacherous landscape, the team sets up a series of energy traps along the Council's designated landing routes, disabling their equipment and forcing them into vulnerable positions. Lucas and Jake work together, reprogramming the Vorath tech to hack into the Council's systems, ensuring that their weapons and communication systems are just as vulnerable to the storm's electrical interference as their ships have been. The Council's soldiers, disoriented and under-equipped for such an environment, begin to fall back. They're not prepared for the speed and ruthlessness of humanity's counterattack. But it's when Aiden and Amelia launch a surprise assault on the Council's main base of operations that things truly begin to unravel. They approach the command center under the cover of the storm, their movements swift and silent. The electromagnetic pulses sent out by Alara's atmosphere have left the enemy's sensors weak, their ability to track the team's movements compromised. When they breach the outer walls of the Council's command center, it's like watching the pieces of a house of cards tumble down. The Council's soldiers don't stand a chance against the element of surprise and the power of the storm working in humanity's favor. Every move the enemy makes is countered with precise, lethal force. With every tactical advantage, they reclaim Alara piece by piece. Do you feel that? Amelia asks, her voice steady, as they make their way deeper into the base. What? Aiden asks, scanning the corridors ahead. The storm, she replies, her eyes focused on the path ahead. It's like it's responding to us, almost like it's on our side. Aiden nods. It's more than just the storm. It's the power we've unlocked. The Vorath didn't just survive here, they mastered it, and now we're doing the same. The battle rages on, but with every passing minute, the Council is pushed back further. Their hold on Alara slips, and with each defeat, humanity's grip tightens. Aiden knows that the tide has turned. No longer are they fighting to survive. Now they're fighting to secure their place in the galaxy, not as pawns of the Galactic Council, but as equals, as powerful allies who have proven their strength. The storm is no longer a force to fear. It is humanity's greatest weapon, and the Council will learn that the hard way. The battle for Ilara is intensifying. The storm continues to rage, but now it's more than just a violent natural occurrence. It's a force that bends to humanity's will, weaponized and directed with precision. The Galactic Council's fleet, once so sure of their superiority, is now buckling under the sheer power of Ilara's storms, amplified by humanity's newfound mastery over the Vorth technology. Aiden stands at the command center of the base, his eyes locked on the screen showing the latest developments. The storm outside has become more than just a chaotic mess of energy. It's now an extension of their resolve. The fleet's shields are failing, and their communication systems are shot. The ground forces, scattered and disorganized, are retreating into the wilderness, unable to cope with the planet's terrain or the onslaught of energy pulses. The Council's forces have been outwitted at every turn. The defensive systems they've set up are either malfunctioning or overwhelmed, unable to contend with the electromagnetic storms and the unexpected weaponization of Ilara's natural environment. Aiden knows that they have this one shot the Council is losing their edge, and they need to push their advantage. "We've got them on the ropes," Jake says, his voice filled with the rush of success. The last wave is disintegrating. Their fleet is pulling back. "Not yet," Aiden responds, his eyes still locked on the battle outside. "They'll regroup. It's only a matter of time before they try again." Ella, ever vigilant, is monitoring the comms. "I've been getting sporadic transmissions from their fleet. They're trying to reach the Council's higher-ups, but their comms are so scrambled it's barely coherent." Aiden glances at her. "What are they saying?" Ella shrugs. "A lot of threats, but nothing new. They're asking for reinforcements. They're calling for backup from the Council's military." Aiden's brow furrows. The Council isn't giving up, far from it. If they're calling for reinforcements, it means they're not yet ready to acknowledge their defeat. But the question is, how long can they keep up the fight? "We need to keep the pressure on," Aiden says. "We've got one chance to end this. The storm is at its peak, and we're in control. We make sure they don't get another opportunity to regroup." Aiden turns to Amelia, who's been scanning the external sensors. "Amelia, what's the status of their retreating forces?" "They're pulling back into the mountains," she replies. "They've set up a defensive perimeter, but they're disorganized. If we strike now, we can wipe out their last remaining forces, but they'll try to reinforce. They won't go down easily. Then we don't let them." Aiden says, his voice firm. "Jake, get the energy pulses ready. Lucas, start working on countermeasures. We're going after their command center. If we take that out, it'll force their fleet to retreat." Jake moves quickly to the console, his fingers flying over the keys. "I've got it. We'll hit them with everything we've got." As the final preparation begins, Aiden watches the storm outside, the rolling clouds filled with an unnatural energy. The storm is at its most intense, but for the first time it feels like an ally, rather than an adversary. They've turned the planet's fury into a weapon, one that's now in their control. They're not just fighting against the elements, they're fighting with them. And it's a fight the Council will never win. The team assembles weapons-ready strategy set. The time has come to finish what they started. "Remember, we're not just taking back the planet," Aiden says as they head out the door. "We're taking back our future. This is humanity's moment." The team moves swiftly, taking advantage of Ilara's terrain and the storm's cover. They approach the Council's final defensive position, a fortress built into the side of the mountains, surrounded by thick rocky terrain. The storm's pulses continue to tear apart the enemy's technology, scrambling their communication systems and disabling their weapons. Amelia leads the charge, her combat expertise guiding the team through the labyrinth of rocks and steep inclines. They approach the fortress under the cover of the storm, moving faster than the enemy can anticipate. Once they're in position, Aiden signals for Jake to release the first energy pulse. The air around them hums with energy as the pulse surges outward, striking the Council's last line of defense. The blast is immense, a wave of concentrated energy that disables the fortress's outer walls, sending tremors through the ground and lighting up the sky. "They didn't see that coming," Jake says with a grin. The team rushes forward, taking advantage of the chaos. The remaining Council forces are disoriented, their shields failing, their weapons useless. The defensive positions crumble as the storm's energy continues to wreak havoc. Every step they take is backed by the raw power of Ilara, an energy they now control, an energy that the Council can't possibly overcome. The final assault is swift. The Council's command center falls with startling ease, the combination of the storm's power and their surprise attack overwhelming the defenders. The few remaining soldiers make a last-ditch attempt to fight back, but it's futile. The Storm Humanity's weapon surrounds them, and they are quickly forced to surrender. "We've got them," Aiden says, looking at the fallen command center. "It's over." Amelia looks up at the storm, the dark clouds swirling violently overhead. "Not just yet. They might pull out, but they'll be back. The council doesn't give up that easily." Aiden nods. "But when they come back, they'll find something different. They'll find that Alara isn't just a death world. It's ours, and we'll fight for it no matter what." As the dust settles, the team stands victorious. The council's fleet is in disarray, their forces in retreat. The storm outside, once an uncontrollable force of nature, has been turned into a symbol of humanity's strength, a testament to their adaptability and resilience. The battle for Ilara may have been won, but the war for humanity's place in the galaxy has only just begun. Aiden looks out over the battlefield, his mind filled with the knowledge that this is just the beginning. Humanity has proven that it can not only survive in the harshest environments, it can thrive, adapt, and conquer. And as the storm continues to rage above, he knows that Alara is only the first step towards something much larger. "We've got a long road ahead," Aiden says, his voice steady, "but we'll walk it together." The storm, now calm, hums gently in the background, a reminder of the power humanity has unlocked. Ilara is theirs now, and they will make sure it stays that way. The aftermath of the battle feels surreal. The storm outside, which had once been a deadly threat, now feels like a distant memory. Humanity has not only survived the tempest of Alara, they have conquered it. The Galactic Council, once a towering and seemingly invincible force, is now retreating in disarray. Their fleet, battered by the storm's energy and disorganized from their retreat, is heading back to the outer reaches of the galaxy. But Aiden knows this isn't the end. The Council may have backed off for now, but they won't forget what happened here. No one forgets when they have been humbled so thoroughly. The team gathers in the command center, the tension of the past week slowly ebbing away as they assess the situation. Aiden can see the weariness in their eyes, the signs of exhaustion. But there's also something else, pride. They did it. Against all odds, humanity stood firm and fought back, winning a victory that would echo through the stars. "Well, we didn't just survive," Jake says, his voice tinged with exhaustion, but filled with a grin. "We took them down." Who would have thought we'd be the ones to send the council running? Aiden's eyes remained fixed on the display, his mind working through the next steps. This wasn't just about sending them running. It was about showing the galaxy that humanity is here to stay. We're not just some test subject or experiment. We're a force. Helen, who's been silent up until now, steps forward. Her eyes are filled with a mix of awe and concern. "The council might be gone for now, but they won't forget what we've done here. They'll be back, and they'll come with reinforcements." "Then we'll be ready," Aiden replies, his voice firm. "This planet is ours now, and we'll defend it with everything we've got." Ella, ever the pragmatist, glances at the screen showing their communications with Earth. "I've sent a final transmission to Earth. They've received our report, but they'll need time to process the situation. The Federation is already preparing a response." "Response?" Lucas asks, glancing up from the data he's been reviewing. "What do you mean?" "I mean, Ella says that the Federation is going to have to decide what to do about the Galactic Council. We've just shown the galaxy what we're capable of, and there's going to be a lot of political fallout from that. The balance of power has shifted, and that means alliances are going to change." Amelia crosses her arms, her expression thoughtful. "We've just forced the Council to rethink how they treat humanity. But what does that mean for us? What does our future look like now?" Aiden lets out a breath, his mind racing through the implications. They've not only survived, no, they've thrived. But with that victory comes new challenges. The galaxy is a vast, complex place full of powerful factions, each with their own agendas. And now humanity has a place at the table. The Council won't back down easily, Aiden says, his voice steady. They'll regroup. But we've shown them we're not just some isolated species on the edge of the galaxy. We can hold our ground, and we can make an impact. Our place in the galactic order has changed. As Aiden's words sink in, the weight of their situation becomes clear. The battle for Alara might be over, but the real challenge is just beginning. The Galactic Council will regroup, but so will other factions. Their victory has set a precedent, and the consequences of it will ripple across the galaxy. Humanity isn't just fighting for survival anymore. They're fighting for their place in a galaxy that once looked down on them. Do we try to negotiate with the Council? Ella asks, her voice tentative. Or do we stand firm and demand our rights? We demand our rights, Aiden says, his gaze unwavering. We've earned them. The galaxy needs to understand that we're no longer just a fledgling species. We're a power in our own right, and if anyone tries to take that away from us, they'll regret it. Jake, who's been quiet for a while, speaks up. I don't think the Council will come at us directly. Not after what happened here. But that doesn't mean we're safe. They'll likely try to go through other means, smaller factions, mercenaries. Anyone they can manipulate. Helen nods. We've got to be ready for that. But the Council knows we won't back down, and other species will be watching closely. We have an opportunity here to build new alliances, to make our case to the rest of the galaxy. Aiden steps forward, feeling the weight of their collective resolve. Humanity's place in the galaxy has always been defined by others. We've been underestimating ourselves, waiting for permission. But now we've proven that we don't need permission to survive. We will make our own way forward. Amelia, who has been unusually quiet, speaks up. And we'll need to make some tough decisions. We've shown the galaxy our strength. Now we need to show them our wisdom. We can't afford to alienate the rest of the galaxy. But we can't just let anyone walk all over us either. I agree, Aiden says, his eyes locked on hers. We need to make alliances, but on our terms. We're not going to be anyone's pawn. This is our future, and we're going to shape it. Then we start by stabilizing Alara. Lucas says, his voice steady. We need to set up long-term systems, make sure the planet's infrastructure is in place. If we're going to thrive here, we need to lay the groundwork for the future. And that means working together. The team agrees, the decision unanimous. Humanity is no longer an outsider in the galactic community, they've just changed the game. And as Aiden looks at each of his team members, he knows they're ready for the next challenge. Together they've made history on Alara. Now they'll make history on a much larger scale. The days that follow are filled with rapid change. The team continues to secure Alara, ensuring that their newfound control over the planet's resources is solidified. They build the infrastructure using the Vorth technology to create a sustainable environment, something the planet can support long-term. At the same time, they're forging new alliances with neighboring species, reaching out to those who recognize the strength humanity has demonstrated. The Federation, too, begins to take notice, though they remain cautious about the power that humanity now holds. But the Galactic Council, ever the calculating force, doesn't take kindly to humanity's newfound autonomy. They've learned a lesson, but they are not yet willing to accept the reality of humanity's rise. They begin to reach out to neutral factions trying to secure their support, but Aiden and his team know that they have the upper hand. The power dynamic has shifted, and humanity has made it clear they will no longer be sidelined. Humanity's place in the galaxy is no longer a question. Their future, for the first time, is in their own hands. The days after the victory are filled with both triumph and a sobering realization: the real work has just begun. Lira, once a brutal and hostile planet, is now a thriving hub of potential. The storm that once symbolized the planet's relentless hostility is now a powerful ally, a force under humanity's control. The Vorth technology they've uncovered has given them the power to not only survive here, but to reshape the world itself. Aiden walks across the newly established base, his boots crunching on the rocky ground. The structure is a blend of human ingenuity and Vorth engineering, designed to withstand Alara's storms while tapping into the planet's raw power. The once barren land is now showing signs of transformation. Power is being drawn directly from the electromagnetic pulses that surge through the atmosphere, fueling the base's energy needs and providing the foundation for future expansion. "Look at this," Lucas says, his voice filled with awe, as he surveys the newly constructed energy grids. "We've barely scratched the surface of what the Vorth left behind. These systems could change everything. We're not just surviving here, we're making this world work for us." Aiden nods. "We've got the tools, but we need to make sure we're not just focusing on technology. Ilara's ecosystem is still dangerous. We need to adapt it, use it to our advantage without letting it get the better of us. The base is alive with activity. Jake is overseeing the construction of more sustainable systems, using the advanced energy technology to power everything from the base's internal systems to the growing agriculture that is beginning to flourish. The acid rain, once a deadly force, is now being controlled through weather manipulation systems that filter the pollutants and make the atmosphere more breathable for human life. Helen, as always, is in the thick of things, ensuring that the team remains healthy and that the ecosystem is being tamed for long-term habitation. The wildlife, though dangerous, is slowly being understood, with some species being carefully studied and others harnessed for resources. This place, it's starting to feel like home, Jake says, wiping his brow as he looks out over the landscape. It's not the kind of place you'd expect to call home, but it's ours, and we're making it our own, Aiden adds. This is just the beginning. We've shown the galaxy what we're capable of. Now we need to show them what humanity can do when we set our minds to something. As the team moves forward with their work, the world around them begins to change. What was once an unforgiving death world is now becoming a symbol of humanity's adaptability and ingenuity. The once brutal storms are now harnessed for energy. The deadly wildlife is becoming a manageable challenge, one that the team is learning to coexist with. Ilara, a world that had been written off as uninhabitable, is becoming a proving ground for humanity's potential. And yet, even with all the advancements, Aiden knows that the fight for Ilara is far from over. The Galactic Council may have retreated for now, but their interest in the planet remains. The political fallout from their defeat is only beginning, and Aiden knows that there are those in the galaxy who won't take kindly to humanity's newfound power. We've made our stand, Aiden says, addressing the team one evening as they sit around a small campfire near the base. The storm rages in the distance, but here in the heart of the base, it feels like a distant memory. But we can't rest on our laurels. There are forces in the galaxy that will test us. The Council might be licking its wounds right now, but they won't forget what we've done. We need to be ready for whatever comes next. I'm not worried, Jake says with a grin. We've got the advantage. We've got the technology, we've got the will, and we've got this planet. Whatever they throw at us, we'll be ready. We're not just ready to survive anymore, Amelia adds, her tone unwavering. We're ready to fight for our place in the galaxy. And if anyone tries to take Ilara from us, they'll learn what happens when you mess with humanity. Aiden looks at each member of his team. They've all been through hell and back, and they've come out stronger. They've proven that humanity is capable of not just surviving, but thriving in the most impossible of circumstances. And now they're building a future not just for themselves, but for humanity as a whole. We're not just building a base here, Aiden says, his voice filled with conviction. We're building a future. We've got the tools, the knowledge, and the strength to make Ilara not just a place where we live, but a symbol of what humanity can achieve. And we're going to make sure that the galaxy knows that. As the fire crackles in the distance, Aiden watches the storm outside, the lightning arcing across the sky. It's a beautiful sight, beautiful, because they control it now. It's not something to fear, it's something to use. Aiden knows that this is only the beginning. The storm has been conquered. The Council has been pushed back. Now it's time to take humanity's place among the stars. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear. Humanity will rise not just as survivors, but as leaders. Ilara is theirs, and they will defend it with everything they've got. The days and months that follow are filled with progress and challenges. Humanity's foothold on Ilara grows stronger as new technologies are developed, new alliances are forged, and the base expands. The world that had once been seen as a death world is now becoming a center of innovation and discovery. But the political ramifications of their actions are far-reaching. As news of Ilara's transformation spreads, other factions in the galaxy begin to take notice. Some are eager to form alliances with humanity, recognizing the potential of this once-forgotten species. Others, like the remnants of the Galactic Council, begin to question the implications of humanity's rise. Will they be a friend or a rival? And as the stars shine above Ilara, a new chapter begins for humanity. The storms may still rage, but now they serve as a reminder of what humanity can accomplish when they are united by purpose and resolve. The future is unwritten, but humanity is no longer asking for permission to shape it. They will forge their destiny one step at a time. The galaxy will never look at humanity the same way again. The dust has settled. The storm that once defined Ilara's ferocity now stands as a symbol of humanity's triumph over adversity. The Galactic Council may have underestimated humanity, But no one, not even the most powerful factions in the galaxy, will ever make that mistake again. Lira is no longer just a death world. It is a beacon, a testament to human resilience and ingenuity. The team stands together on a ridge overlooking the base. The planet, now beginning to show signs of sustainability and growth, spreads out beneath them. The once treacherous landscape is slowly transforming into something habitable. The violent storms have been harnessed to power everything from their energy grid to agricultural systems. Wildlife, though dangerous, is becoming more predictable, and the Vorith technology has been adapted to support not only survival, but thriving in the harsh conditions. But Aiden knows that this victory is just the beginning. The battle for Alara may be over for now, but the real test lies in what comes next, the political struggle that will define humanity's place in the galaxy. "Look at this," Lucas says, his voice filled with awe. "We're standing on the edge of something new. Lira. It's not just our home anymore. It's a symbol." Aiden watches the horizon, the landscape bathed in the soft glow of the setting sun, with the storm clouds still swirling in the distance. "It's more than a symbol," he replies. "It's proof. Proof that humanity can adapt, evolve, and thrive no matter the odds." Helen, standing next to Aiden, nods thoughtfully. "It's been a long road, but we've done it. We've made this world our own. And now we've got the chance to show the rest of the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of." Amelia, ever the pragmatist, crosses her arms and surveys the base. "We're not out of the woods yet. The galaxy is full of powerful factions, and they'll see Alara as an opportunity. We've shown them we can defend ourselves, but we can't let our guard down. We've got to be ready for anything." "We will be," Aiden says, his tone resolute. "This world is ours now, and we won't let anyone take it from us. But that doesn't mean we close ourselves off. We need to build alliances. Strength doesn't come from isolation, it comes from cooperation. We'll show the galaxy that humanity is a power to be reckoned with, but we'll do it on our own terms." The transmission from Earth crackles to life in the command center. Ella, who's been monitoring the comms, looks up from her station. "It's the Federation. They've received our report. They're requesting a live feed." Aiden steps forward, the weight of his role as a leader settling heavily on his shoulders. The Federation's response could change everything. Their decision could either solidify humanity's new place in the galaxy or cast them back into obscurity. But Aiden is no longer afraid of what might come next. He sits down at the console, his fingers steady, as he connects with the Federation's representatives. The screen flickers, and soon Admiral Davis appears, his stern face filling the display. His expression is unreadable, but Aiden can sense the undercurrent of tension. Captain Maxwell Davis begins, his voice even. "I've reviewed the situation on Alara. The Galactic Council's failure to establish dominance is a significant development. The Federation has seen what humanity is capable of." Aiden doesn't flinch. "I trust the Federation understands the implications of this victory. Humanity has proven we're not just survivors, we're a force. Alara is our world now, and we'll defend it. We don't need the Council's approval to determine our future." Davis eyes him for a moment before nodding slowly. "I agree. The galaxy will no longer underestimate humanity. Your success on Alara has shifted the balance. But understand this, Captain, the Federation will not be idle. The political landscape will change, and alliances will be tested." "I'm not asking for permission," Aiden responds, his voice unwavering. "I'm telling you that humanity is here to stay, and we won't be anyone's pawn." Davis leans back slightly in his chair, his expression shifting. "Then consider this a message to the galaxy. Humanity will no longer be regarded as a fringe species. You've earned the right to sit at the table. But remember, there will always be those who see your rise as a threat. It's up to you whether you take that threat head on or wait for it to come knocking." Aiden meets his gaze. "We'll take it head on." The transmission ends and the room is silent for a moment. The team exchanges looks, their expressions a mix of relief and resolve. Humanity has taken its first step into the broader galactic community. The Federation has acknowledged their place, but Aiden knows that this is just the beginning. "We've done it," Lucas says, breaking the silence. "The galaxy will never be the same." Aiden looks at his team, each of them weary but filled with a sense of accomplishment. They've been through the fire and come out on the other side. They've proven that humanity can face the harshest conditions and not only survive but thrive. Now they stand on the cusp of something greater, a future where humanity has a voice, a future where they can stand shoulder to shoulder with the galaxy's most powerful species. This isn't just about us, Aiden says, his voice steady with conviction. This is about the generations that will follow. We've set the stage for humanity to claim its place in the stars, and we'll make sure they know who we are. As Aiden steps away from the console and looks out over Alara's transformed landscape, he knows that their work isn't done. There's still much to be done, much to build, and many challenges to face, but humanity has proven that they are capable of anything. They've unlocked the power of Ilara, and in doing so, they've unlocked the potential of humanity itself. The storm above Ilara continues to churn, but now it is a part of them. It's a force they've learned to control, a force they've turned into a weapon, a symbol of their resilience. And as the storm rages in the distance, Aiden knows that humanity is no longer just fighting to survive. They are fighting for their future, and they will shape it on their own terms. Humanity's new dawn has arrived. The journey on Ilara has been nothing short of extraordinary. What began as a mission to survive in the most hostile conditions imaginable has transformed into a powerful statement of humanity's resilience and ingenuity. The team led by Captain Aiden Maxwell faced challenges that would have shattered any other species. From violent electromagnetic storms to acid rains and dangerous wildlife, Ilara proved to be a death world in every sense. Yet humanity did more than survive. They thrived. The discovery of the Vorith ruins and their advanced technology was the turning point, an opportunity humanity seized with determination. What was once seen as an insurmountable challenge became the foundation for humanity's rise, not just on Ilara, but in the galaxy itself. With the ability to harness the planet's volatile energy, the team created a fortress and a symbol of human potential. The power they tapped into not only secured their survival on the planet, but also set the stage for a new chapter in galactic history. Despite the odds, the Galactic Council underestimated humanity. Their attempt to seize control of Ilara was met with a resounding rejection. With unparalleled strategy, unity, and determination, humanity forced the Council to retreat, proving that they would no longer be treated as second-class citizens in the galactic community. But victory on Ilara wasn't the end. It marked the beginning of humanity's rise. The galaxy watched as humanity transitioned from a species on the fringe to a powerful force that could shape its own destiny. The Federation's acknowledgement was only the first step. Humanity's place in the stars is no longer up for debate. The future is theirs to build. And as the storm continues to rage above Ilara, humanity's resolve remains unshaken. The galaxy will never forget the legacy they've forged on this once deadly world.